There's been a lot of releases this week, from Battlefield 6 to Pokémon ZA to now the launch of the Xbox Rogue Ally. Some of them have been received very positively, while others not so much. But why? Well, let's find out in this week's recap of the gaming industry. One thing we've talked a lot about is the EA acquisition. We covered that 2 weeks ago, going into detail what exactly the EA acquisition is and how that's going to affect the company, and a couple of theories of how that would work or how it would affect the games that we know and love. And today we saw a little glimpse of what that could be, specifically because we saw that there is a potential idea for Dead Space 4. It seems like they've been wanting to bring back the Dead Space series and not just do a remake, but completely new game in the franchise and kind of reviving it. There were a couple of worries that Dead Space was kind of dead after the remakes didn't perform that well, didn't do that well in sales. But the co-founder of Dead Space came out not too long ago basically stating that they are very optimistic about seeing a Dead Space 4 potentially in the future. Now, the reason he thinks that the Dead Space franchise could maybe come back is because due to the acquisition, EA is trying to get a lot of money to be able to pay out the $22 billion debt that we had spoken of before. And in order to do that, one of the approaches that people are theorizing that EA could go for is basically going on sale and selling their different IPs. So the idea is that they might go on and sell any IP that they don't think will be profitable for them, and maybe just focus on the IPs that they know bring a lot of profit to the studio. So we might see like multiplayer games similar to like Apex, the FIFA franchise. Those might still stay, but we might be seeing a lot of other IPs that EA has being sold to other video game companies so that they can pay that debt. We might get a lot of those IPs that we really love but have not liked how EA have managed them. So this could be potential, revitalization of the games we know and love. And if they sell them off, another studio can do a better job at just making that new franchise or that new iteration of the game, and we could improve on the formula as a whole. The funny thing is that a lot of the companies, because they fear of getting maybe sold out or just completely botched and lose all funding, they've been working around the clock to make sure that they get profits and that they are successful at launch. And amongst those, the most recent launch from EA is Battlefield 6. So Battlefield 6 came out, 3 days ago? And it's taken the world by storm. A lot of people really like Battlefield 6. They say that the multiplayer is going back to the basics, going back to what Battlefield is, and it feels new and fresh, even though it's just going back to its roots. So it's a really nice reception that it's received from its fan base and from gamers all around. Really seem to be enjoying the game. So much so that we can see that it's been performing really well on Steam, seeing some really high values. Regardless, even though it's performing really well on Steam and PC players are really enjoying the game, it seems like their console release wasn't that smooth, right? It seems like a lot of the consoles have had issues while running the game and being able to basically run it properly. But more than anything, specifically Xbox itself has had very big issues with the release of Battlefield 6, seeing as the game has been crashing the console as a whole. Although it seems like it's not necessarily the console that's the problem, it's their optimization. So they seem to be doing a lot of patches and they're working really hard to make sure that the console release is not as affected. But regardless, it's still very successful and it's done really well on PC so far, and people seem to really be enjoying it. The console might be having issues, but there might be another option for you to play this game that might be able to handle it even better. And that is the new release from Xbox the Rogue Ally Xbox X, Xbox Rogue Ally X, whatever you want to call it. Basically, the Rogue Ally has been released from Xbox just this week, and a lot of people have been really enjoying it. So the critiques of the system is that although, yes, it is performing a lot better than most handhelds, it's one of the better performing handhelds out there, and people really love the design and the grip and how the feel of the console. The one issue is that just like we've seen Xbox increasing all of its different consoles and all of its different hardware and prices, well, the new handheld devices that they just launched are way too expensive. So we're seeing that the highest end version of this console is roughly $1,000, and the lower end is still $600. And as somebody who their main console for playing games is Xbox, I would love to get the Rogue Ally, but the problem is that it's too expensive. Even $600, I don't have that kind of money in this economy. You're talking me to spend $600 when I already have the Xbox or I have my own PC. The reality is, if you have the capital to get this console, I would recommend you get the console. The handheld seems to be performing really well. It seems like it has a lot of customization for it, and it seems to just be very comfortable and just really good at its design and what it's meant to do. It's just that right now that price point is way too high. So I'll have to wait to either you subscribe to the channel and I blow up, or until maybe they put it on sale. So if you want to see me play with the Rogue Ally and give it a more, direct review, hit that subscribe button. Maybe I'll get enough money to actually get it for myself. Regardless, right now it's too expensive for most people, and it's honestly not worth the price for you to go in and buy this handheld as of right now. Regardless, we talked about how the companies either increase their prices or they do a lot of layoffs to try to deal with, budget cuts and try to deal with the current economical environment of the world. Well, one thing that people have been doing to combat these type of things is going on unions. So Activision Blizzard recently had another group of developers unionized against them. Not against them, just unionized between themselves so they can get better working conditions. And why are they doing this? Well, as we mentioned before, the industry has been doing a lot of layoffs, and they've seen those layoffs happen. They've seen their own colleagues being fired, even though they know that those colleagues work hard and love what they do. So they've banded together to start unionizing and basically just try to get the best bang for their buck to the companies themselves. It's basically stating we need proper payment, we need proper work conditions, and hopefully being able to make it so that leadership cannot screw over the employees and just keep laying them off just because, even though they're giving profits, because the revenue has been positive for a lot of these companies, and yet they still lay off a lot of employees year per year. So this is a way to protect themselves. And in this case, Activision and Blizzard employees joined the Code Communication Workers of America, which is a union entity that has been building up within the tech industry, basically making sure that anybody in tech, whether you're a project manager in IT or whether you're a coder yourself, you have protections between yourself so you don't just get laid off, and that you get, you get valued and you don't get underpaid for the worth you bring to any company. We've seen that when industries don't have unions, they do a lot of predatory stuff, or they tend to kind of screw their employees when it comes to pay and benefits. So hopefully this helps shift the industry to have better working conditions, and with better working conditions, we can hope to get even better games in the future. Regardless, the AAA community or the AAA companies have taken it to heart the fact that indie games have been getting a lot of traction. So they've been hitting it hard recently. We saw the success of Battlefield 6, and now we're seeing the release of Pokemon Legends CA. Now, Pokemon Legends CA seems like a very promising inclusion to the Pokemon franchise, but the game has seen a lot of mixed reviews. The game literally just came out yesterday, and people either love it or they hate it. Well, the reason why you either love it or you hate it is because it's not like your usual Pokemon game, in the sense that they've forgone the turn-based strategical battling style that you expect from a Pokemon game, and instead started implementing a new system very similar and seems to be inspired by Final Fantasy VII, the remake, like their battle version, or inspired by like Xenoblade Chronicles. So it's basically a somewhat like a mix of like strategical auto battler type of situation where you throw your Pokemon out there and you don't have any control over your Pokemon directly. They're just going to be attacking, and in real time. This is not turn-based anymore. This is real time. They're just going to be attacking. So it's a very interesting shift in the Pokemon formula, but you either love it or you hate it. Some people say that this game is a off-brand or non-mainline game in the Pokemon franchise being sold as a mainline Pokemon game because of how experimental and all these changes are, which I would say is, you know, not far off from Pokemon itself. Pokemon, the mainline games, have been experimenting with their formula for the last decade or so, right? We first saw their experimentation when they first introduced megas, and then they've done personalization, then they did the open world concept of it, right? They've always been trying to find the next way to evolve Pokemon to make it, you know, that much better, hopefully better, every single iteration, every single mainline game. So this is not that different from that, but since there are no new Pokemon being introduced into the game, just new mega evolutions, then that just fuels the idea of people saying, oh, this ain't a mainline game. Don't buy this game if you want to play the mainline game. And that's a fair criticism. The concept seems fun. It's open world, but it's like still segmented. So it seems like a very nice game so far. It just came out. I haven't been able to play it myself, but its reception, once again, you either love it or you hate it. It seems very interesting. It seems like the type of Pokemon game that maybe I would play. Now, if you love Pokemon, but you're not really enjoying this new iteration of the game, then if you want a more ironically a more traditional Pokemon feel, then I would tell you to go ahead and check out Digimon, because Digimon, funnily enough, the new game that just came out around 2 weeks ago, has a better Pokemon formula and the turn-based strategy battling mechanic that Pokemon uses more than the newest Pokemon game. So if you just want to feel like you're playing old Pokemon again, I would highly recommend for you to check out Digimon, the new game, the Story Time Strangers. They seem to be performing pretty well. And this is just on PC. This is not even taking into account the console version of this game. So overall, really good game. If you want that Pokemon experience, Digimon has you covered. But Pokemon hasn't just been dealing with that mixed reaction that we've just saw with the release of their new game. 3 days before this new game came out, we saw pretty major leaks come out right before the launch with the Terra Leaks. So apparently, the Terra Leaks had a bunch of information and a bunch of screenshots of different things and behind the scenes of the creation of Pokemon. And so much so that you could see a timeline of all the games that they had been planning to release and when they plan to release them. Now, this was a data leak that was basically acquired in the year 2020. So a lot of things have shifted and have changed timeline-wise But regardless, it did make us look into what games and potential titles they've been looking for in future games releases, right? So we see that they have some DLCs planned for next week. We do see that they have different games with the different codes on them and potentially when they're gonna get released. So there's a lot of information. Not only did we see these leaks of like what games might be coming up in the future, and maybe when they're coming up in the future, we also saw screenshots of what they've been working on. Now, this right here is a screenshot of what's supposed to be Gen 10 Pokemon, which has already been confirmed, at least through the leaks, that it's called the Wind or Wave, Pokemon Wind or Pokemon Wave, right? And it seems like it looks really high def. If they do come up with this type of Pokemon game, this is like the type of high def and design that Pokemon fans have been waiting for in their mainline game. So this seems very, very promising. Among other things, the game just seems to be very ambitious. If you read the leaks, there's a bunch of game features that it's super interesting in how they will be able to implement them, and would definitely change the Pokemon formula as a whole if implemented correctly. So it's a very ambitious game. This is Gen 10. Now, the one thing that they did reveal is that the inspiration for the, I guess, setting in Gen 10 is Indonesian and Southeast Asian cultures, which is why we see a bunch of different islands in the image down there, and why we see a lot more forest and that type of, like, I guess, tropical look of it. So that is their inspiration, and apparently the whole idea is that you might be able to like go to different islands and stuff like that. So once again, a very ambitious game. So if you want to learn more, I would highly tell you to go ahead and check the Terra leaks that yourself. I will let you know beforehand though, giving it a little bit of credibility, the leaks were so much and so detailed that a lot of the screenshots that you would see from those Terra leaks have been taken down, giving it credibility. But even though the screenshots have been taken down, you can still get a list of everything that they've covered and everything that they saw and potential news and everything involving new game releases for Pokemon. So if you're interested in that, I would tell you to check the Terra leaks. Regardless, we've been seeing a lot of game releases right now. We just covered basically 4 releases in the last 2 weeks. This month has been jam-packed with a bunch of really nice game releases and really fun games that people have been enjoying a lot. So if you want to stay up to date with the performance of all these new games, go ahead and check out thegamingmarketplace.com so you can track your gem score over time. If you don't know what a gem score is, check out this video where you can learn about this unique, new, unbiased video game rating metric. Remember to subscribe so you can have all these updates every week so you stay on top of all news related to the gaming industry. And if you want to see these news weekly recaps live, go ahead to twitch.tv/thegamingmarketplace, and there you're going to see me live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll see you then.